Coach, to start off, can you talk about what went right in the Notre Dame game? It appeared that right out of the gate, you guys had all things working.
Yeah, everything went right in the Notre Dame game. Um, you know, some days you're the pigeon, some days you're the statue, right? Some days things just break your way, and we were able to get out to a very good start at the beginning. I think we opened the first set with an 8-0 run that kind of looked like it knocked them back a little bit, and able to extend that to 17-4 in the first set, and you know. We just played pretty consistent volleyball. We were forcing them to have to score. We weren't giving up unforced errors and giving up points. And our blocking defense, which we had spent a lot of time on last week, had really kind of picked up and improved. So we just played very good, consistent volleyball for all three sets. There was no letdown after halftime, after the break. Was really happy with that sort of steady, consistent play. And Notre Dame had a hard time kind of mounting anything sustained. They pushed a little bit a couple of times, and we were able to withstand that and push back. So it was fantastic. It was great volleyball.
Fast forward to the Louisville game. Can you talk about this? The opposite was kind of true, and it appeared to be a slower start than Friday night. Can you talk about the slow start and if there are any changes that you'll be made to avoid that in the future?
Yeah, well, that's when we were the statue. It was just Jekyll and Hyde, a complete role reversal, and frustrating for the players, frustrating for the coaches. We just didn't look like we were emotionally invested in the match, in playing, and whether that was still savoring the win at Notre Dame or something else, just second match on a road trip. You can't. There's no magic bullet. You can just put your finger on it. I know our girls want to play and they want to be successful, but we just didn't show up. And Louisville is too good of a team to not show up. Most ACC schools are too good a team not to show up, and yeah, you find out in a real hurry when you don't. And that's what happened to us. The real question is how do we respond to that? The girls bounced back. I was really happy. One of the things that was so gratifying about the Notre Dame game was after the heartbreaking loss last week at Georgia Tech, to be able to spend a week of practice and improve and concentrate on a few things, to have that show up right away, to really just come out with a great performance. That I was really happy with. What we've got to see now is if we can do that same kind of focus. We're now coming off, our most recent match was not the heartbreaker like it was to Georgia Tech, but a blowout. And how do we respond to that? How mentally do our girls handle that?
With the first 4 ACC games under your belt, do you think your team has a good idea of what to expect from the rest of the conference going forward?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the ACC, it's funny. I look back at the end of last season, I look back at trying to get a gauge on how our season compared to previous Boston College volleyball seasons since they've joined the ACC. And so I kind of went back, and the 2007 year, BC had done very well. They were about 500, I think, maybe a little under, but about 500 in the ACC. And but it puzzled me because the RPI for BC that year was much lower than our RPI was last year. And so I went back and looked, and in 2007, the ACC had one team in the top 100. Last year, we had 9 teams in the top 100, 4 in the top 25, and this year it's probably stronger. The conference is getting better and better and better, both in terms of just the overall depth. There are no teams that are easy wins, and also in terms of the upper end, that the top teams are competing more and more on the national scale. And so what we've seen the last 2 weekends, I don't expect any different going into next weekend with Virginia Tech and Pitt. It's going to be that same level. If you don't show up, you run the risk of getting pounded.
And how important is it to be returning home for a 4-game homestand after only having 1 game in Power Gym over the last month?
Yeah, hard to overstate the value of just being able to play in your own facility, in your own comfort zone. To have other teams have to go on the road to play you. And you're right, it's just kind of a quirk of the way facilities work, that we've had to be on the road for a significant stretch. Now, it's no excuse. We know that ahead of time. It's like that every year. We don't really have an option with it. So, it's something we have to prepare for mentally and physically, that long road stretch. But be that as may, it's always good to play at home. Yeah, for sure.